I would only recommend this hotel for a specific group of travelers, and it's not tourists. Welcome to the Hilton Prague, where I stayed for 5 nights. Here are 3 things that I liked and 3 things that I did not like today on Markus Travels. The first thing that really appealed to me was the quick and easy check-in process. I arrived after midnight from a delayed flight, so I just asked for a very quick check-in, and that is exactly what the check-in agent was able to do for me. She did not spend time going through the opening hours of the pools and restaurants. Instead, she just said that all of that information is available on the in-room TV. At that time, there was also no wait at the counter. That check-in could have been even more efficient if they would have used the digital key that's available on the Hilton app, especially in the US, but they have not implemented that here. Nonetheless, an excellent first impression. The second thing I like is the bed, because it is simple and comfortable. There are no decorative pillows on the bed, there's no fancy throw, it's just the blanket, a few pillows, and that's it. The bed is also rather firm, as is often the case in Central and Eastern Europe. For my 5 nights here, I slept really well in the bed. The third thing I really liked about the Hilton Prague was the conferencing facilities. I was actually here for a conference. I gave a presentation about the use of generative artificial intelligence for share plans and executive compensation. By the way, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, there's a link in the description below the video. The conference was excellent, due in large part to the great facilities at the Prague Hilton. Among the conferencing facilities, they have a grand ballroom with a capacity of 560 people, plus they have the Congress Hall with a capacity of 1,350 people. That's where we watched the keynote presentations, and that's also where the conference exhibitors set up their booths along the sides of the room. Another aspect that worked really well for the conference was the catering that the Hilton Prague provided. All of it was beautifully presented, the food was delicious, and the staff were super attentive. In addition to the big conferencing facilities, they also have smaller meeting rooms that can also be combined into a bigger whole. The meeting room that I used for my session, Palmovka number 3, had a capacity of around 100 people. And because my session was the best of the conference, that breakout session was packed. I paid for this stay myself, so that you get a non-sponsored and authentic travel review. Welcome to my channel, Markus Travels. We'll talk more about the price and the value for money at the end of the video. And now we come to the 3 things that I did not like about the Hilton Prague. Number 1 is the size of the room. I am staying in room number 3098. It is a corner room, but it's quite small. This is much smaller than what you would get at the Hilton Hotel in the US, for example. The decor in the room is also quite dated, which is exactly what you would get in a Hilton in the US. This room has a queen bed, and then there's a table and 1 single chair, and they kind of barely fit in this space. You notice it in particular when it comes to the space here on my right, where the closet is, because there is barely any space just outside the closet where it opens. In one of the clips, I even had to move the trash can out of the way. It's a pretty tight squeeze in this room. Speaking of that closet, it does have a light that is supposed to turn on when you open the closet, but the door actually does not close tight enough for the light to ever switch off. If I push the door shut, it switches off for a moment, but when I let it go, the light switches on again. The single chair I'm sitting on right now, it is quite wobbly as well. The last space-related concern that I have is that the right side of the bed is actually not accessible at all because it is flush with the wall. Are you getting value from the video? Please hit the like button. Thank you for that. You might think, by the way, because this is a corner room, that would be a benefit. Maybe you would have windows in 2 different directions. That is actually not the case at all. There is only 1 window in this room. It is actually small, and the view is obstructed because these corner rooms are kind of set in from the main building, so that's the upper floor there, floor number 4, that is blocking part of the view from the room. The second thing I did not like about the room concerns the bathroom, and it is a fairly comfortable, fairly modern bathroom, but there is one design flaw in there. The glass pane that is supposed to stop water from the shower splashing onto the floor is too short. It just doesn't cover enough of the bathtub to be effective. So every morning when I have a shower, I have half the water on the floor. That glass pane is also not adjustable, you cannot move it, and there is no additional shower curtain or anything like that. The third thing that I don't like about the room is the lack of available power outlets. In practice, there are only 2 user-accessible power outlets, and they're both on the countertop here above the fridge. Ideally, I would have had a lot more power outlets. One for my work phone, one for my private phone, one for my laptop, one for my camera battery, one for the kettle, and one for my backup phone as well. It is also a problem that all of the usable outlets are by the counter and none are by the bed. On the right side of the bed, that's the non-accessible side, there are no outlets. On the left side of the bed, there is in theory 1 electrical outlet. However, that is being used by something else. I believe it's the alarm clock. But when you can appear behind the little table there, there's just a whole big mess of cables. I don't want to touch that. There are, though, 2 USB power outlets there, but you should not be connecting your device, especially if you have sensitive data on there, to a random USB outlet. That's not a good idea. Small correction on the outlets. There is a couple of outlets down here, but the fact that I didn't notice them until the 4th day really means that they are quite well hidden there behind the table and the chair. Relating to this technology point, I also note that I was not able to connect any of my phones to the TV in the room, not via screencasting and not via Bluetooth audio. It's a bit strange because it does say that I could connect to a device called 3098, which is the name of the room, but then it shows me a pairing key on my phone, but there's no way to enter that on the TV, so I have no idea what's supposed to happen there. If you've gotten massive value from this video, there's many things that you can do to support my channel, Markus Travels. One is to make a small donation right here on YouTube by using the Super Thanks button. Whatever you do to support, thank you very much. Now we come to the price and the value for money. The price I paid for my 5-night stay was 27,222 Czech krona, and that is 1,245 US dollars. So per night, that's approximately $250 US. When I arrived here, and even now at the end of the stay, I felt quite underwhelmed, and we'll come to the reason shortly. When the Hilton Prague was new, maybe it was very impressive, but it isn't now. Though I will admit that the atrium in the center of the hotel with the staircases, yeah, that still looks quite grand. So if I was coming to Prague as a tourist, I would not recommend the Hilton Prague based on my experience so far. With the budget of $250 a night, you can get a lot better hotels here. However, I was here for the sole purpose of attending the conference, and for that, the Hilton Prague delivered. Everything from the physical facilities, to the technology, to the catering and the staff, all of it just worked really, really well. So if I were to choose a place to organize a conference, especially with a few hundred delegates, I would not hesitate to organize it here at the Prague Hilton. That was a really good experience. There is one more group that I think would enjoy the Hilton Prague, and that is tour groups on the European river cruises. I note that Viking Cruises had a presence downstairs, and there were a lot of tour groups coming through. One reason why the Hilton Prague would be a good choice is because of the high capacity. There are even 2 entrances. There's the normal lobby for people arriving by foot or by car, and then there's a lower lobby that has extra capacity for tour buses. From what I was able to see, all the cruise ship passengers were quite happy here. For another Hilton review, click or tap the screen right here. That's my complete review of the Las Vegas Hilton at Resorts World. There were certainly a lot of things to like about that place, but also a few things that did not meet my expectations. So check out that video now. Thank you very much for watching. Markus Travels, and I will see you in the next video.